Andrew Huberman， 靠，这集好像不是要讲他。Casey Means 是史丹佛大学医学博士，专注于代谢科学，是畅销书《Good Energy》作者兼业余园艺厨艺爱好者，同时也是 Levels-个人健康检测公司的共同创办人。为了让大家更快速吸收 Casey Means 医生的心法 ，Life Kaizen 将为观众把英语圈的生活改善新知，定期以超浓缩加画重点的形式制作成影片，供各位朋友参考及分享。您的支持是我持续做这个节目的动力。喜欢的话，请务必订阅、点赞、按小铃铛哦。
So, if you would, could you get us all on the same page about, what are mitochondria and what do they do? Why are they so important?
Yes, absolutely. So the mitochondria are the structure within the cells. We have 40 trillion cells, and each cell might have a handful or many thousand mitochondria, and they are the magical part of the cell that does that conversion process of food breaking down and then converting to energy, to translating it to a currency of energy our body can recognize. And so currently, what's happening is that our environment, the environment that our cells exist in across every single facet of our life over the past 50 to 75 years has changed rapidly. You look at how our food system has changed from whole, real food in good soil to industrial food. Our sleep habits have changed. We're sleeping less. It's very fragmented. Our movement patterns have changed. We're sitting 80% of the waking day. Our time in nature has changed. We actually are indoors as Americans 93% of a 24-hour period. So that totally changed our relationship with light. We have 80,000 synthetic toxins in our food, water, air, personal care products, home care products. We live a thermoneutral existence now with our thermostats. There's no real swings in temperature unless you're intentionally trying to. And then our emotional health is very different. We are very much exposed to low-grade chronic stress triggers. Things are not what they once were, and it's changed in the blink of an eye. I mean, the light bulb was created in 1806. This is like 0.04% of human history that we've even had artificial light. So things have changed, and the unique thing about all of these changes in our environment is that each one of those pillars, each of those changes in our environment synergistically directly hurts the mitochondria through different mechanisms. The chronic low-grade stress, the sitting, the ultra-processed nutrient-devoid food, even the blue light at nighttime, all of it through different core biologic mechanisms synergistically hits this part of the cell, the mitochondria. So we have the food coming in, but we're not doing a good job of converting it to an energy form we can use. So we have these underpowered dysfunctional cells because of mitochondrial dysfunction caused by our environment. And of course, what happens if you've got energy substrate that you can't process, it's going to be stored. And that's, of course, why we have an obesity and overweight epidemic that's affecting close to 80% of Americans.
That's so wild.
It's just, we talk about obesity like it's the problem. Obesity is one branch of a tree that's rooted in this mitochondrial dysfunction that's caused by our environment. When you've got that dysfunctional mitochondria, let's say in a nasal mucosal tissue, that is a cell that can't do its job. That is a cell that's underpowered. And what could be more threatening to the body than a cell that can't do its job? So interestingly, those cells will initiate a whole process, which is called the cell danger response. It's work that's been done by Robert Navio at UCSD, where basically they understand the mitochondria is not working properly. This is, of course, caused by the environment, and they will actually release extracellular ATP, which is not really supposed to go outside of the cell. And that creates a massive innate immune response saying like, I'm underpowered, I need help, my mitochondria is broken, this is the cell, releases ATP outside of the cell. Usually the concentration of ATP is 1,000,000 times higher inside the cell. So releases it almost as a neurotransmitter, a purogenic neurotransmitter that massively activates the immune system to come and help. But the immune system comes and is like, not much we can do for you here, because the problem is not something that the immune system can help with, like grabbing a bacteria and lysing it, or, taking care of some cells infected with the virus. The problem is outside the body. It's the environment. So you end up getting this tornado of dysfunction, of mitochondrial dysfunction caused by the environment, leading to the cell danger response, which leads to innate immunity. And then on top of this, you get the oxidative stress, which is essentially these mitochondria trying so hard to do their work, but they're not working properly. So they create damaging metabolic byproducts called oxidative stress, free radicals that cause more damage. So this is happening in the nose. It's happening all over the American body because of our environment. So you've got these tornadoes of interrelated physiology of mitochondrial dysfunction, chronic inflammation, oxidative stress. That's the real secret that I really feel like we need to reorient the healthcare system around, since 90% of healthcare costs go towards treating the downstream symptoms of these. And for every marginal dollar we're spending on treating symptoms, we're getting the rates are going up because they're doing nothing to actually affect that trifecta. But to really make it simple, I like to think of this trifecta of what I call trifecta of bad energies as chronic inflammation is biochemical fear. It's response to a threat. Mitochondrial dysfunction is kind of like rolling blackouts. It's not enough power. And the oxidative stress is like wildfires. So it's kind of, what's funny to me a little bit is like what's happening inside the cell is almost like what's happening like in our society. It's like, this is like living in California. It's like blackouts, fire, fear, and that's literally what's happening inside our cell because of the environment.